What is that? No, I don't want this. No. There he goes. This is a very good-looking bee. I know I don't have to write the word bee for you, but here he is, and he's spotting a very beautiful flower, as you can see. Right? Stage one, pursuit of. Right? Second stage of the form meditation, right? Where the bee is circling around it. Third stage of meditation. They describe it as someone wandering and suddenly discovers in a desert area a lake, and they're filled with, therefore, with joy at the prospect of it all. And the last stage, fourth stage, well, there are 5 stages, excuse me, and the last one is very easy to draw. Right? He lands in the lake and he's enjoying the heck out of it. Right? And this is happiness. This is the way they talk about it. Fifth stage, it doesn't follow this. What it does follow, it's the tortoise. There he is. Now, that's called ekagrata. But forget the Sanskrit for a moment. The reason it's chosen is because these are 6 limbs. That's the 5 senses and the intellect. And when you can withdraw into yourself, right, like the tortoise does its limbs, then you are fixed in a state of meditation. And that's called the 5th stage, ekagrata, or called the tortoise state. Now, in the literature, there's a question of whether or not, when I talk about the literature, I mean there are different schools in the Abhidharma school which takes positions about how to understand this traditionally over many, many centuries. And they argue this way. Some say, all of these are merely this. Some argue that each one of these is separate and distinct, and they follow this in sequence. Others say, no, you focus on the first and then this naturally develops. It naturally develops. You don't have to do anything more. It's simply a consequence of being in the first state that you get the second. And some other systems, same tradition, by the way, the Abhidharmakosha school, they'll argue that, no, these two are related. If you get this, if you get the first one, this comes naturally, this immediately follows. So therefore, you only have really one state you're getting into, and you just have to watch these emerge. And you don't have to struggle to reach another state, another state, another state. Well, there are many positions taken in respect to there's no solution to it. Now, what's interesting now is a group of people who are involved with Neoplatonic thought look at this and they say, you know what's possible? It's possible that if we study this, we might be able to find that using pseudo-Dionysius, what we've been doing tonight, we might be able to apply that to this. We might be able to make sense of this in terms of what we've done. Oh, well. You see, one of the arguments here is if you really only have one state and these follow naturally, you may only have 2 distinct states with transitions between them. Wait a minute, could that be the difference between the transcendent maker and the 5th and the last state that goes beyond it all? Well, in any case, all right, this is the kind of thing they are now doing. And if you like this kind of thought and these kinds of explorations, there's a whole body of literature that's been coming out for a few years now. And here it is. This comes out of Bain Harris's work, Neoplatonism and Indian Thought. There's another one on Neoplatonism and Jewish thought, another one on Gnosticism, Neoplatonism and Jewish thought, Gnostic thought. And there's also one here on the significance of Neoplatonism. There are about 5 or 6 volumes so far. But there's another one which is very interesting. And it's all right. I don't need it. I didn't bring it. But I have a note on it, and I can read you the note.
Question.
Yes, please, just jump ahead.
So, just getting back to the mystical theology just for a minute, and the last things you were talking about. Are you saying that we cultivate our minds by the cultivation of our minds with the various systems, theology, divine names, and symbolic theology, that in and of itself will help us to go beyond our minds?
Wouldn't you agree that in your own field you gained a great facility when you found that certain words can be used in very special ways, and with that specialized way of using your vocabulary, it gave you a great deal of freedom and expertise in the field that you are now in?
Yes.
I suppose that's equally true in this game. Maybe we should do that with our minds itself, with the highest ideas. Would that then give us a certain freedom and a certain way we can use our mind with great direction and distinction? No difference. No difference. So he's taking the highest object of thought, idea of God, and saying that is so significant for the human mind that all of the ideas that are associated and attached with it cause all the problems we have. By properly identifying them and knowing how they should function, that allows us with a certain discipline and control over the very ideas that previously went at random or out of personal history, religious background, family backgrounds, things of that nature.
So I have a question.
Sir?
Yeah, right next to formless meditation, it looks like there's 2 words the same, consciousness.
Consciousness of infinite space,
Oh.
infinite consciousness, nothingness.
Oh, I see.
Okay. Now, this is a very fine article by the name of Rodier, R-O-D-I-E-R, in this series on Neoplatonism and the Hindu tradition. Let me give you his conclusion. If this analysis is correct, then not only does the parallelism between meditative accounts based on radically different metaphysics suggest that each account might have a common factual basis, a suggestion so brilliantly developed by a chap by the name of Wallace, W-A-L-I-S. But the structuring of the Neoplatonic account provides an answer to the inclusion of both the form and the formless meditation states in the Buddhist scheme, as well as suggesting that the account given by Buddhaghosa of the structure of the formless meditative states is preferable. That means by using this analysis, you can then go back to the different positions the Buddhists have, and you can pick out one of them and say it's likely that he's correct. You know what that's doing? That's making it intelligible. It's making it all intelligible. Now, if it can do that with one Upanishad, if that can do this with one sutra, right? And if the same game is going on with the Bhagavad Gita, from the Upanishads, from Aurobindo, all of these,